Hello everybody. Today I'm going to make a tutorial, the best tutorial you have ever seen, ever, in history, on how to make a Technic mod pack, upload it to the Modpack website, our Technic website, and a server file to go along with it. As you can see, I have a folder dedicated to making mod packs. I have made far more than this, 20 probably in the past few years. YouTubers, all sorts of stuff. I used to make World War Minecraft. I've made a lot of mod packs. Anyways, for this tutorial we are going to be doing 1.7.10 because it is just way better. You don't have to solve IDs. There's honestly no reason to use 1.6.4 unless there's a mod that's not on 1.7 yet, I guess. But barring that, there's literally no excuse. So, as you can see, I've made one for tutorial mod pack. Go here. I've already downloaded everything we're going to need just to save time. This will come into play later. Basically, you're going to want to download Forge 1.7. Well, this is going to change depending on when you watch this. As of right now, I downloaded build 1208. And you're going to want the installer, Win, if you're on Windows, and you're going to want the Universal. Now you can see here, 1208 is already not the newest one, but I've tried 1217 and it's broken a few mods because it's got a lot of changes in it. As you can see right here, huge changes. So, like Buildcraft didn't work. Anyways, so you're going to want to get this one and this one for 1208. Now this could all change depending on when you are making it. You want to probably stick with the recommended, although the recommended right now is 1180, which is kind of old, and some mods that are more cutting edge already require a higher one. So I've found 1208 to work with everything so far. So that's what I'm using. Anyways, you got that downloaded. First thing we're going to do is copy the installer Win. Copy. Now, obviously, this is only if you're on Windows. That's what this tutorial is going to mainly address. You're going to make a new folder. I'm going to name it Server. Go in here, paste. You're going to run this. Install server. Change the directory to whatever you have it. So for me, it's local disk F, Modpacks, tutorial Modpack, server, open. Okay. It's going to download all the libraries, everything you need. And you really only need to do this once. Because after this, like say you wanted to update to Forge 1217, you would just download the Universal, which is basically just the jar, like this. The Universal, you can't see the .jar, but it says WinRAR archive, but it's actually a .jar. And then you would just replace where it says this Forge Universal. So now it's done it all. Successfully downloaded. You can delete the installer. Now you do not want to rename this under any circumstances. Never rename it, ever. Libraries do not delete. We're going to take the launch2g.bat I made, and I'll show you just a second. And we're going to edit. You don't, obviously you're going to have to make this yourself. Maybe I'll link one, but it's very simple as you can see. You don't want to make a bat file. You have to do this for any Minecraft server anywhere. For Linux guys, it's going to be a bash sh file, which is almost the exact same thing, just a little different format. Basically Java tells it to use Java. This tells it the minimum perm size to use, perm gen size, which it doesn't really matter unless you're making a bigger mod pack, but there's pretty much no reason not to, just to be safe. 128 megs extra RAM. That's only actually like 64 megabytes more RAM because I think it defaults to 64 megs. This says it can use a max of 256, so it can go up to that. Probably not. That's probably overkill, but it's only a couple hundred megs of RAM. This tells it to use the incremental garbage collector, and there's tons of articles about garbage collecting, ways to tune the Java virtual machine, all sorts of stuff, but basically, from my understanding, well, the garbage collector is basically what frees up RAM, so you need it essentially. And the problem is with the normal, well, with any garbage collector, is that when it runs to free up RAM, so, well, this is the maximum it can use, so 2G, so maybe it's getting like 1.5 gigs and it wants to free some RAM up because it's getting close. So what it does, it has to actually pause the game. Like, the game cannot be running. The program can't run. It freezes everything, and then it cleans out the RAM and then resumes it. Now, usually this is extremely fast and you pretty much won't notice it. But if you've ever had games where you're, well, playing Minecraft and you're playing and you'll notice the game like pause for a second and then keep going and then pause for a second or anything like that happens, that's because the garbage collector's running and it's probably running frequently because you're running out of RAM. Now what the incremental garbage collector does is it runs, instead of running really big pauses, so maybe like a half a second or a quarter of a second or a tenth of a second long or whatever, but running it like every 30 seconds like the normal one would do, but this is all just an example. This one would run maybe every second, but it would run for like 1/100th of a second, so much less noticeable. I personally like it. Now we don't have an XMS because that's what tells us the minimum amount of RAM for Java to use. We're just telling it XMX, which means the maximum, which is 2G, meaning 2 gigs. Meaning it'll go up to that, but no higher, unless you got like memory leaks and stuff with bad mods. If you want to put an XMS in, you can. Some people like setting them to the exact same so that it's always using at least 2 gigs. I don't know if there's, I mean, people debate this all the time if there's an advantage to that or not, but it's up to you. Jar tells it which jar to look at. We're going to tell it to look at the forge jar, and as you can see, this isn't named forge jar, it's named forge 12 whatever, 1208. We're going to rename this forge, it's all case sensitive, just forge, because the jar is already in the extension. You just can't see it. At least on Windows. On Linux, I think it actually shows it. So you have to actually name it forge.jar. But here you don't. You just name it forge. Unless you can name it whatever you want. Save this. Well, actually, don't need to save it. I didn't change anything. Now what we do is we launch 2G. This is going to download, or not download, it's going to make all the folders we need, and it will crash. You need to note that it says, this is new for 1.7.10. It says, you need to agree to the EULA, and that's in the EULA.txt. Right here. You know, in here. True. Perfect. Launch it again. And there's a argument you can put in the launch to disable this graphical user interface if you don't like it. But for now, we'll leave it on. It's loaded. We'll type in stop, hit enter, saves everything, hit spacebar to get out of that. You can see we got all these folders, mods, made a world, we don't care about that, we'll delete that, fig, everything. Now we go to our downloads, we're going to copy everything in, just for the sake of easiness. Paste that into mods, BA 1.7, you don't have to solve IDs. Now here's the part people mess up on almost every time. You need to delete anything that does not belong in the server. Forge installer does not belong. Forge universal does not belong. iChun util, that goes with backtools, which is client only. You do not want to leave any client only mods in the server folder. Delete. Delete. That leaves us with all server mods. Well, these are universal, they work on both. Now we're going to launch it again. It's going to make another map. So you can see it's loading Mine Factory, Thermal Foundation, etc. Prank spawn. All our mods are loaded. There's always random errors. Perfect. Now we're going to stop this again. Delete the world. Doesn't really matter. Now we're going to go, you got logs, See everything you need if you ever have an issue. If it crashes, it'll leave a crash report folder with all of them listed by date. Now, in your config folder, you see all this. Now, this is what takes the time. You can spend days and days making these. Ore density, say you want to make IC2 spawn 50% more ores. You want to make nukes disabled, etc. You can do all that. Now, here's one that not many people know of, but it's very handy. In here, in the Forge config, there's these two options. Remove erroring entities and remove erroring tile entities. Now, you're not really supposed to leave these on all the time, even though I do, and I've never had an issue. Basically what it does is, if, like, some of the biggest crashes you get, and the most common, are ticking tile entities or ticking entities errors, and you'll see it says it in the very front of the crash report. If you get one of those, come in here and enable these and start your server. It'll remove all those automatically that are crashing you and fix it. It's very handy. So what I do is I just leave them on, and instead of like if someone places a block and it's going to have a ticking entity crash, instead of crashing the server and telling me about it so that I can manually fix it, it just deletes the block. So the guy will be like, hey, my block disappeared, but at least the server didn't crash and you would have had to remove it anyway. So that's my thoughts, but it can screw stuff up, so just be careful with this. I would only enable it if you need to. Alright, so we literally are already done with the server. It's pretty easy. You can change your server properties, OPs, whatever. Now we're going to make a new folder. And then we hit client. Client folder, we're going to make a, well, let's do this. Go to the server folder. We'll copy all these. Now, I always make the server first. It always seemed easier to me because you can test it way faster instead of having to launch the client every time to test mods. But you got to make sure you test both of them, because if something, maybe the server will work and then you launch the client and it crashes from a rendering error or something that only happens on the client. It's happened to me numerous times, so just be careful with that. We do not need the logs, and we do not need libraries. That leaves us with just those. Now, we want to make a bin folder. Case sensitive, guys. Now this part's very easy. It's not well explained on the Technic Launcher website. You're going to want to get the universal Forge, copy it, go to client, bin, paste this here. Now literally all you do is name this Modpack, lowercase. That is it. I mean, on the Technic website, it's not that clear at all. So that's literally it. You got your configurations, you got your mods. Now we do need to add in the client-only mods. So we'll go to Back Tools, got to copy that in. Now there's a lot more stuff you can do, graphically speaking. I'll show you in just a minute. So, because BackTools requires this, I had to add them both, obviously. Server doesn't need those. Alright, now, basically what this does is this, let me go to one of my mod packs. Go to experimental, bin. So what it does is this is the modpack.jar for my experimental mod pack, and this is the vanilla Minecraft. Now what it does is it basically takes everything in the modpack.jar and pushes it into the Minecraft.jar. Like it literally drags and drops it essentially, and it overwrites anything that overlaps in here. So if you want to overwrite the normal Mojang .png, one when you see when you're loading up, you would just put that in here. It has to be the right file structure. So in here it's under assets, Minecraft, textures, GUI, title, Mojang. So you would make all this file structure so it's the exact same inside your modpack.jar, and then you would just put your own Mojang PNG there, and when it comes in it would overwrite the existing one because it would put it in the exact file, and then it would load yours instead. So you can do tons of stuff like that. Now another thing is, as you can see in here, we have options, so you can change options and then copy that into your own mod pack, and when it installs, it'll replace the people's options with your own. servers.dat. So what we would do is we'd copy this. If this was your Modpack, paste it in here. Now what this does is you would have to have launched this first, your own Modpack. You would add your server in the multiplayer tab, save it, everything, rename it exactly you want, and then you would go into the folder wherever you installed the Modpack and were playing on it, and find this servers.dat. You would then copy that into your Modpack install folder, this, like the one we're making, and then when it installs on other people's, it unpacks this into their own main folder, and this has your server pre-entered in. So that's how you do that. But right now this is done. So we're literally going to add this to an archive. We'll name it Modpack. You want to make it a .zip, not .rar, nothing else. There you go. Now we have this. Now what I do is I use copy.com, at least when I'm just testing. Otherwise I host it from my own server, which is significantly more complex. Copy.com, free. You literally just go like this. As far as I know, no bandwidth limits, but I could be wrong. It's uploading. Meanwhile, we go to Technic. I've already made an account. I assume you have. It's pretty easy. You got to create a Modpack. Name this Best Tutorial Modpack. I actually already did this tutorial once. It took me like 45 minutes. And then I played it back and basically heard myself say hello. And then the audio cut out for the rest of the 45 minutes. So, yeah, that sucked. So this is the second time I've done this. So I'm a little rushed, but whatever. Anyways, we'll just put whatever in here. Good Modpack. And create. 1.7.10 is not in the top, contrary to what I would think. Alright, so we made this. You're not going to have a platform URL. You can hit edit. Here, you don't really need to change this for your first one, but you will need to change it if you want to update people every time. Modpack location. Go to our copy this link, paste it in. Don't want to mess with this. If you have logos you want to upload, put those there. We'll say good tutorial Modpack. There we go. Changelog 1.0 initial release. If you have permissions, want to put those there. There we go. We hit save. Our Modpack is now on the Technic launcher. We're going to hit copy URL, launch Technic. Scroll up to add new pack, paste, add Modpack, find it right here, hit play. It's going to download all the libraries, install Minecraft, download all your things you've made. You can see up here I have the what do you call it? Technic console open. So this is for finding bugs. If it crashes, you can see what happened. It shouldn't. Should be pretty good. Now you're going to notice once this is up, 32 mods. As you can see, the mods count is very exaggerated. For instance, Mine Factory counts as 19 mods. That is why you can never trust the actual mod count. Like, people always asking me, dude, you have 150 mods, man. I can't boot that on my Pentium 1. And I'm like, well, I do not have 150 mods. I have like 30, 40. I've never actually counted. But I mean, when you got some counting as 30 mods each, 20 mods each, it adds up pretty fast. And they're not really mods. Anyways, I'm going to create a new world. That one's there from the last tutorial. Oops, I should have done creative. Messed up. Let's quit, do creative. Single player, create a new world. Creative. As you can see up here, basically shows everything that's happening. Look around, wait for it to load. There we go. See if we worked. Yes, we did. Industrial craft, everything is ready to go. Plasma launcher, that's kind of cool. Let's see if back tools works. I don't know if it actually works with modded gear. I think it might though. Yep. My plasma launcher, my back. Everything's working. Perfect. Now your single player works. Now we gotta test to make sure we can connect to our server we made. So we're gonna launch this. The server's gonna start up. Our multiplayer tab. Oops. Now, that's from the last tutorial. Add a server, Minecraft server. Now we're gonna put in localhost. Since this is hosted on the same PC, if it's not, obviously you're gonna have to put in the right IP. There it is, shows up. Click that. As you can see in here, it shows that Exile is joined. And there we are, we're in our server. You're gonna have to add yourself to the OPs from the console or from adding yourself to the name, the OPs list in the server folder. And I mean, you've got yourself a mod pack. I just want to reiterate though, you gotta make sure you remove any client mods from the server. Sometimes they don't crash, but it's just sloppy. I mean, it's like, I've seen people send me mod packs and they have REI's minimap, back tools, mob dismemberment, all sorts of client-side only mods in their thing, and I'm like, yeah, and it's in the server, and they're like, why doesn't it boot? And I have to fix it for them. So please don't ask me why your server's not booting, and send me your files, and it turns out that you have REI's minimap in the folder. That's just bad. But like I said, sometimes it won't actually crash you. It'll still load it for some reason. It just won't do anything. It's just not good. It's just sloppy. There's probably something I didn't go over, although I felt like I did. This one was a little expedited compared to my first one, which is about twice as long as this, but hope this helped. And feel free to leave questions in the comments section. And if you liked it, please like, subscribe, share, whatever you guys do, because it helps. It helps. And yeah, if you make a good mod pack, let me know, man. Maybe I'll check it out, do a feature on it. Yeah, so just let me know if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to answer those. But I'm pretty sure I covered everything. And oh yeah, I'll link all the links I used and whatnot in the description. Anyways, good luck making your mod packs. Maybe you'll become famous. That'd be cool. Just make sure you tell people that you used to know me, if you do. Anyways, bye.